everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to BackCountry Bourbon. A little more realized in the vision that I had for it this time. We are out here in the woods today trying some good bourbon, and that's kind of what I want this channel to be a little bit more about. Wanted to have some other content up for y'all between this one and the last one for August, but I've had some technical difficulties getting everything put together. Getting videos off my phone, figuring out some of the AV stuff of everything, getting this editing software that's going to work. So luckily, the way that I want these videos to be are a heck of a lot easier. And this is just one cut, no editing, one take of cracking open all the stuff that I bought last month that I'm going to try for the first time and just get real raw first impressions of everything. Didn't have nearly as much this month, definitely went on a big kick for August. So this is everything through September here. Got 5 new bottles to give a try on camera with you guys today. And a little bit of a bottle and bond month, I guess, because I've got this early times, got the benchmark bonded. That Wilderness is the bonded Wilderness Trail over there. Finally got a hand on this rye on the Mictors that I've been wanting to grab for a while, and just got lucky, wandered across a drop of the Black Walnut Penelopes. Wanted to grab some just to see how it is. Already cracked that one with some friends this past couple weeks ago, but I'm excited to give these guys a try. We're going to jump straight into them today. So we'll start off going from closest to furthest here. We'll jump right into this early times. Of course, the screw top guy here. And we'll give this a little go here on camera. Maybe a little bit of a budget this month as well, unlike some of those from the previous video. But early times, this guy is sitting solid at 20, I think I was $24 after tax leaving the store with this one. And, you know, for $20, thin on the nose, almost kind of smells oily. I don't really get a whole lot of sweet notes. Maybe some of that fruitiness, that kind of red fruit there in the background. Let's just give it a try. Now, is it phenomenal? No. But for for $20, give or take. Also, this is a liter bottle. I don't know if they're all that way, but as I was setting these guys up, trying to figure out how I wanted to present this week's or this month's video and everything, and just looking at them, like, it's bigger. It is. It's a liter instead of $7.50 for less than $25 realistically. That is a good, easy to drink bourbon. It's got some of that oak. It's definitely got a little bit of that char taste to it as it's setting into the palate. And now that I've, washed it down and everything, definitely has a lot of char taste, but not really in an unapproachable bad way. It is kind of like that, tastes like a burnt honey barrel. A little bit of the caramel, a little bit of sweetness, not a huge bite. And again, a bottle and bond, of course, is going to be that 100 proof point, so it does have good proof on it for a good early drinker. If you find one of those out, definitely grab it, because for $20, that's not bad at all. We'll jump right next into the Benchmark. For anybody that doesn't know, Benchmark comes out of the Buffalo Trace distillery, and they've got the whole Benchmark series that you can realistically get the whole lineup at the right price in the right store, probably for less than $100. The bonded, the full proof, the single barrel top floor, and the standard release option. I feel like I'm missing one there, but it's not coming to me right now. But yeah, I mean, all of these guys sit right around the $20 to $25 mark after tax. So again, not at all a bad pick, and especially knowing that this comes from Buffalo Trace, I would expect to get some of those real cherry, fruity, a little bit of that char characteristic taste that comes off a Buffalo Trace bottle. On the nose, not really getting much of those Buffalo Trace smells. I always think that Buffalo Trace has this really distinct, like, sweet, dusty kind of a smell. And I definitely don't pick that up on here, but let's just give it a shot. Again, kind of like that first one of those early times here, it's just dusty and sweet. I don't really pick out any specific flavor notes necessarily, but again, for less than $25, still bonded, still 100 proof points. Not bad. It smells very medicinal, very, very syrupy and thick, and it does kind of sit that way in the glass. For such a cheap bottle, it does definitely have a little bit of leg going on there. Not a bad pick at all. The first two are very, very similar. Hopefully as we get a little bit further down the way over here, we'll start to get away from that same very, very basic, not a lot of complexity going on there, just sweet, oaky, you know, that regular quintessential bourbon flavor. And I can't have anything bad to say about either of those, especially for the price point. That'd go great in a cocktail with 100 proof points, especially if you get the full proof of that benchmark with 125-ish. Both of those would be great cocktail options, or just sippers even. We'll move on here. I've got a Michter's Rye single barrel, and this will be my first shot into anything from Michter's. Of course, I've heard tons about them. I've got some friends that have nothing but good things to say about it. Also one of my few actual ryes. I've got a few, you know, your turkeys and things that are rye in the mash bill, but nothing that's specifically a rye. And let's see, of course, we know Michter's comes out of right there out of the heart of Kentucky too. Single, and this is the single barrel rye. This one is going to come in a little bit less. This guy's sitting at about 90. What is that? 42.4. So that's actually going to be 85 proof. So let's give it a shot here. On the nose, of course, everything you'd expect a regular bourbon to be. I am very excited to finally get my hands on this one, though. I've been wanting to grab a Michter's Rye for a while now. And it's just become one of those that it's getting to be where I see it everywhere. It is everywhere. And I always gravitate towards stuff I don't see as much before I picked it up. So this one finally decided just to pull the trigger and grab it this past month. Now on this guy, of course, you get a little bit of that caramel, a little bit more of that spicy, you know, bacon spice that's pretty typical of your rye stuff. Let's give it a try. Definitely a little bit more complexity on this one. Weird little note that I kind of pick up on, almost like this weird, like ash gunpowdery kind of a taste that, and then some of that caramel color comes into the background there. For anybody that's been around guns a lot, though, I pick up this almost, it's real faint, but I pick up this tasting note that's almost like you shoot a gun, you get that gunpowder firing, you know, smell into your nose and your sinuses, I guess. I kind of pick up a little bit of that with this one. Again, I mean, there's such a low proof point on this that there's not a lot of burn at all, actually. Almost zero burn. And not a super complex. It is a good rye. It's definitely a good drinker, but it's not super complex. And like I said last month, I'm a little bit more of a fan of some proof. 100 to 110 is where I'd rather it be. So we're a little bit on the shy side of that. As I said, it was 42.4, yeah, so 84.8, 85%, or 85 proof. Isn't crazy high by any standard. And it's good though. I mean, again, for more than the first two we picked up today, though, I believe this one is 45 to 50-ish is going to probably be your normal retail range that I've come to see on those. For 20 bucks, both of these, I think, honestly, kind of give this one a little bit of the run for its money. It is more complex. And none of these are drank hot. But that Michter's is definitely leaves a little bit to be desired. And I did have some high hopes for it because I've heard so much about it. But we will jump right into the Wilderness Trail. Now, Wilderness Trail I definitely don't know as much about. I see a lot of it and I hear a lot about. But distilled aged and bottled, of course, by Wilderness Trail Distillery in Danville, Kentucky. Non-chill filtered, and this is also their bottle and bond, which is kind of weird because it does say small batch Kentucky straight and then bottle and bond down here on the low end of the label. Right at 100 proof, of course. This is the sweet mash, the yellow label. So traditional mash bill of corn, wheat, and malted barley. alcohol stuff that we like to see. And of course, rather than fumble with this one for too long, let's just rip right into it with the knife. This is our second corked bottle for the video. First two being screw tops. But let's give this guy a taste here and see what we think. I've heard good things about Wilderness Trail, and of course, really I grabbed this one at Costco because it was setting at a nice, $41, I believe. It was the first time I've ever seen any Wilderness Trail in our Arkansas Costco here. It's a big square bottle, very nice bottles. I like anything that's got the less rounded, more squared off style to it. But let's get this guy a taste. I'm curious of being outside drinking all this for a change and making it a little different. Because honestly, they all kind of smell about the same to me. It just smells like humidity. But let's see. This one definitely has a little more going on with it. Unfortunately, I'm really not picking up a lot of notes today on any of these guys. This one definitely has more complexity to it, I think, definitely than the first two. I do get a little bit of oak. I do get that little bit of that fruity sweetness. This one in the glass is definitely the darkest of the four that I've done so far today. This guy is very, very dark for just a bottled in bond. Again, and none of these have given me any kind of alcohol smell off of them. None of them are having that burn coming out. So let's just go right into it. There it is. That one's got a little bit more taste in the palate, a little bit more burn on the palate than the other three have had too. Let's get one more. That's a fine bottle. Again, I'm just not getting a lot of anything super specific. It definitely has some of that, a little bit more of that fruit on the palate that is amping up. That kind of that darker berry, and not necessarily not as cherry forward as something like a Weller would be, but it's definitely there a little bit. Just a little tiny hint of that oakiness. More of a caramel or sugar, yeah, but more of that pre-caramelized sugary taste. It is just sweet. It's not like a darker sugar. Definitely not like a brown sugar or anything. It is definitely there. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about any of these guys. None of these are bad. I'm definitely not upset about any of these four. The Wilderness Trail was kind of an impulse. That one was, like I said, at Costco. It was dirt cheap for what it would be at any of the stores normally. So we just jumped on it because why would I not grab it for $41? And then the last one, of course, is the pre-made cocktail. That's that Penelope Black Walnut Old Fashioned. I have already tried this, like I mentioned. I'll pour a little bit right now. I get into this this bad habit of thinking that the sweet stuff sounds really good. Cocktails, finished bourbons, whatever. And then I get to try them, and I always remember that the sweet stuff is not for me. And this thing is very syrupy. It's only 70 proof, I believe. It's very, very low, 76 proof. And of course, straight bourbon whiskey. I'm sure it's MGP Penelope stuff. Straight rye whiskey, walnut bitters, and vanilla demerara. And of course, mixed together with the intention of being something like a freezer or a cocktail. And it tastes great. It really does. I think it's not proofy enough myself out of the bottle, which is an easy fix. Just pour something in there with it. More than likely, probably want to go with a Penelope whiskey. But if you've got a good one that you like, get you a strong rye, cut it down a little bit. Excuse me, get you a strong rye, cut it down some, get you a high proof bourbon, spike it a little bit more. But it smells fantastic, don't get me wrong. Definitely smell the walnut in there, those dark nutty flavors. And then it's just so syrupy and sweet. Well, it's hard to get down. It's not thick as a liquid, but it's definitely, it coats your mouth really, really, really heavily. But it is a good tasting bottle, especially if you have somebody around that doesn't want the higher proof stuff. I picked it up. I wanted it. I'm not going to lie to you. It tastes great, but if you're going to drink it, especially if you're going to drink it alone, put it on some ice and definitely 3/4 pour of it with a 1/4 pour of another bourbon to go on top of it. Something very higher, something very stiff, a little bit higher proof to bring that up some. But this is, like I said, the September haul. Coming into spooky season now, coming into October, and I'll have another one of these up for you guys at the end of next month, of course. This is going to be a staple video. Always one cut, always one take. Sometimes it might get a little awkward, but first impressions of just about everything I buy, trying it on camera with you guys. But thanks for clicking in. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm working on trying to get my AV kind of stuff settled, so we'll have some videos coming up soon. So please, if you enjoy what you see, if you want to stick around, if you care what I have to say about some bourbon, give it a follow, give me a subscribe. Shoot me a comment down below if you have any recommendations, maybe something you picked up this month, something you think's worth trying. Keep in mind, I'm here in Central Arkansas, so our shopping scene, some of our allocations are pretty low, but I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have any suggestions, if y'all want to see something specific that I should grab, let me know. Drop a comment down below, like, follow, subscribe. We'll catch you guys outside. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.